The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Return the Jewels. Also, there's explicit language. Hey everyone, welcome to the 14th episode of Return the Jewels. This is going to be our last episode of the year because we're going to take a break for Christmas and New Year's. So, accordingly, this episode, we're going to go out with a bang this year. This episode is a really good one. We got my friend Nimesh Patel on this one. He is a very accomplished comedian in his own right. Just to name a few accomplishments, he was first South Asian writer for Saturday Night Live. He wrote for the Oscars. Uh, opened for most famous comedians. He's always at the Comedy Cellar. Well, I mean, before quarantine, obviously. But around touring, all the things. Getting into acting. Developed with his friend Mookie Thompson. Developed their own animated show during this time, and just all sorts of things. Look him up. He's the first Nimesh Patel that will show up on Google search, and there's tons of them. So that's good. This episode itself is really good. But before I say that, I just want to urge, please go to the website, returnthejewels.com. There's a merch link if you want to get any merch for the holidays, or I guess after the holidays. We got hoodies and stuff. And follow us on social media. We appreciate every like, every share, every retweet, every review, anything really, just anything that pushes us up in the algorithm. And the more we grow, the more we know. The more we know. No, the more we know, the more whatever. Anyways, the episode today is really good. We have Nimesh, and we talked about representation, obviously. But what we really got into was an issue that is near and dear to both of us, because we have a lot of family that are healthcare workers, like doctors, nurses, hospital administrators, business people that deal with that. Any people that have been exposed to this pandemic from a completely different reality than we are usually exposed to. People that are on the front lines, and I say front lines because Nimesh used the analogy or metaphor of this pandemic being wartime for healthcare workers, which it really is. And if you imagine the type of trauma that's being created and reinforced constantly for a lot of our family members right now, and the effect that it may have on our generation and future generations going forward when all of this is over. There's lingering effects, just like the things we talk about on this podcast with colonialism and the vestigial effects. So um anyways, he had a lot to say about it, and it's worth listening to. This episode's worth watching, and I hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, now we're here with my friend Nimesh Patel. Did I say that right?
I hope so. I don't know. Ask Akash Singh.
Should I have said it like Nimesh Patel?
Sure, man. Whatever gets the check.
Yeah.
You know.
You ever know any BATILs? Because I know that was like all over Harry Potter.
I don't. No, I never knew any of them. I knew a girl that ended up marrying Patil, but that's it.
I wonder if they changed it. I mean, I guess it's all phonetic, anyways. Uh, so
I knew my girls in my freshman year girlfriend, or my sophomore year girlfriend's roommate in college. Her family was Patel, but there was too many of them where they were, so they changed their last name. And I won't tell you what the last name is because it's very unique, but that's a story I remember hearing and being like, damn. Talk about, I mean, That's wild. That's wild to just change your last name
I mean,
because
my
there's so
dad
many
did
Patels.
that.
But what's that?
My dad did that. All my like uncles and that whole his side of the family is Garg. And so
Uh-huh.
we're kind of like Agarwal's or not a subcaste, but Garg is a subcaste of
Uh-huh.
Agarwal.
Uh-huh.
So he just went with the general one. And
Uh-huh.
the way we spell it is like different than everyone else. So I
Yeah, you
always
spell it Uggerwall.
I spell it Agra.
Yeah.
And so like I think his original name was like Prem Shakti Garg.
Yeah, I mean,
They
but
always
that's different than being in the States and changing from Patel
yeah, it's Paul now.
you know, it's to what I can't tell you what they changed it to, but if I told you what they changed it to, they'd be like, wait, what? you know. But yeah,
I hope I'm doing that right, and I hope I just didn't let out too much information.
who gives a shit? What's
Yeah,
gonna
who gives
happen
a
to
shit?
you?
Uh, so
Nothing happens.
yeah, it really doesn't. And that's like a whole story. Like if I think more about it and I think about like why did my dad have to change his name and all that stuff and like moving to America and all that, it's like it just gets sadder and sadder. It's like
Mhm.
more intense and I don't like thinking about how easy I have it now because I always want to like be a victim,
Right.
and then it's just like you think about our parents' generations. But I say that to say, because I wanted to get into like, we are both of store Indian stock, I would say,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure,
And
for
so
sure.
I think there's a nuance in like how people in America perceive South Asians, and a lot of it deals with upbringing, and it's like how you had to it's like whether or not your family operated stores, they're doctors, engineers, or whatever, because coming to America at a certain generation, maybe around like the 70s or 80s,
Hmm.
you have to adapt in a certain way that's different than we have to adapt now,
Hmm.
right? So it's like, well, obviously you have cousins, but like, were all your cousins, was everybody in like the store business
No,
stuff? No.
only my dad and his brother were in the store business, like as their primary source of income. One of my
Yeah.
other cousins had his dad had a store, like a small store in Staten Island, but he was like an engineer, like a home inspector by training, like a civil engineer by training, and
Right.
like a store was just like an investment that he had, and like he had a family friend slash uncle like run the store. My dad and his brother both have stores, but that's just them. And then on my mom's side, one of my uncles is a doctor. One of my uncles is an engineer. One of my other uncles is like a blue collar worker. Um, my aunt, one of my aunts is a housewife. The other aunt is works at a medical office, and the other aunt is also a blue collar worker. And then my mom uh, works at a pet food company as like a quality control chemist, and also does like real estate in New Jersey.
So I guess okay. So in terms of career
That's on my
exposure,
mom's side. My dad's side is like there's mad people. I don't want to just do that what I just
yeah,
did
no,
on my dad's side.
there's so much listing. We don't have that much time.
you know.
But it's so I guess it's fair to say that the Patel family in New Jersey got uh, fairly decent exposure to the American career market.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's like one of everything in the family for sure. Well, there's a comedian. There's probably one or two lawyers. It's
So
five doctors.
how old are these cousins compared to you? Is it about the same age group?
Everyone's pretty much the same age, both on my mom's side and my dad's side, which is like very cool growing up because we all had like, I think the most is like 7 or 8 years, but I think I don't, I've lost like track, but, or 9 years rather, of difference.
Sounds about
Uh,
right.
but for the most part, we're all pretty clustered in terms of our age. Like at least like every age group has like a group of cousins in that age group. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like there's a group of people that were born in like 85 to like 87 and then 88 to like 90. Like everyone has their people that are cousins that are their own age. So it was pretty dope growing up that way.
Did you um did you all know each other's SAT scores?
Everyone knew mine, and I knew a few others, but I think for the most part, no.
Like, what was
Um,
competition like? I
uh,
guess academically, or like, what was the impetus for competition? What was it like?
cousins did not compete academically. I think my male cousins and I competed on the basketball court, and that was really it. And I mean, I'm trash, but I'll whoop all their asses.
That's why you
I
developed a
have
sense
to,
of humor.
I have to say that. But uh, there was never really like it was all like love constantly
Yeah,
between all of us. And the younger ones were always better. So it was like, there's no real competing. I mean, maybe the younger ones competed, but I'm on the older side of the cousin group, like I'm of the five cousins who are like my age, I'm the youngest, but the rest of them I'm older than all of them. You know what I mean? Like
right. Maybe they grew up with better diets as quality of life got better for the extended family.
they all got to learn from all the terrible mistakes the rest of us made,
Yeah.
you know.
Did you do the thing where you would give them the video game controllers that weren't plugged in?
Oh yeah, I mean we did that all the time, and then I would bully a lot of them. We definitely competed in video games. That was probably our closest fucking every time. GoldenEye, Madden, all that shit. We were competing constantly. And then the younger ones, part of the sewerage, just became like monstrous at
Yeah.
video games. Like Suraj, my cousin Suraj is my youngest cousin on my mom's side. Went to Rutgers, um, joined the Super Smash Brothers like club, whatever
Yeah.
that they had. Like there's
Yeah.
like 10, 20 people, beat all of them and then quit.
Just to prove a point to you.
Just to be like, you guys are trash. Like that he was that good. He was just like he just beat all of them and then left, like uh so video games was definitely a point of competition. We definitely did that shit in terms of like snatching shit away and stuff for sure.
He had a point to prove. So I know. Okay, well, I mean, I didn't even think about getting into this, but like, you're doing a lot of like adapting, pivoting, brand building in
I'm trying.
quarantine. Not yeah, not being able to be on stage. So you're
Mhm,
doing a lot of writing. You're putting out a lot of stuff on YouTube
mhm.
in a very disciplined way. So what are you? Is gaming gonna be a thing?
I mean, I know we talked about it
Yeah.
loosely. I just like if I hadn't gotten this Lilly job,
Right.
my time would obviously be a lot freer, and I'd probably be doing a lot more, the stuff I was doing beforehand in terms of entrepreneuring my way into staying relevant or putting stuff out there and letting people know hey, like once quarantine ends, like I'm here to come watch me kind of shit.
Right.
Um, I would love to get into gaming. I just like I know PS5s are fucking sold out everywhere. But I also have a
You probably have a
addictive
connection.
addictive personality. Like I will like I when I was unemployed, when I started comedy, I was crashing at my boy John's place and Joe's place on their sofa, and I would just like I would come home from mics and shit, and then I would play Call of Duty for like 4 hours. And then my friend Joe was also unemployed, so like after he lost his job as a banker or some shit, we would just play Call of Duty for hours, and I would just be up talking shit to motherfuckers, And like I just know that if I were to get back into gaming now, I would probably be as addicted as I was then. Not to say I wasn't like addicted, but it was like costing me life. It was just like
Yeah.
do I need to spend 3 hours playing a fucking video game?
You had a waxed sense of priorities and timing.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And I fucking my cousin Sujal, who's a doctor now, orthopedic surgeon now, but like he was like waiting for a fellowship or like waiting to find out if he's going to get into med school or something. And for that summer or winter or whatever the fuck it was, I would get up and I would go to his house and we'd play Call of Duty like all day. It was bad, dude. It was bad.
Dude, I did that. I did that with like Nintendo games in college
Yeah.
and stuff.
I would get up and be like, yo, we gonna play today? And then I
Yep.
would go to his house and fucking play for hours.
So what do you think that comes from? Because I feel like for me, it came from like kind of rebelling against knowing what I had to do in terms of time management or,
Uh-huh.
the self betterment and stuff.
Hmm.
Do you feel it was kind of like a very active, passive, or subconscious rebellion against that kind of thing? Or like what, like that lifestyle?
I just really enjoyed it. I just had fun. It was fun.
Okay.
Like I was good. I wasn't nasty or anything, but I was good enough where I was like, okay, I could get better at this. And I never even processed it as a time suck. I just thought of it as I'm whooping these motherfuckers ass. These 12-year-old kids ain't know they're fucking with a 24-year-old man who got nothing to lose. I'm gonna shoot all you bastards. I don't give a fuck. Like it was more like that. And then at some point
Okay.
I was like, what am I doing? Like this is fun, but it's not really constructive in terms of I have a mission right now, and that is to get better at comedy. I could be spending this time writing stuff or sleeping, which is good for your brain as
Is that
opposed to
also at 24?
what's that?
Was that realization at 24?
Oh no, I mean, I don't know when I realized. Yeah, I mean, I was 24 when I was like I'd started
That
comedy,
became,
and I was like living on my friends' couches,
yeah.
more or less, playing video games until my eyes bled. And then at some point, I was like, "What am I doing? Like, this is fucking stupid." Um, and then I kind of stopped, and I haven't really played since. Um, I played FIFA occasionally,
Yeah.
or NBA 2K occasionally, and Call of Duty and Rainbow Six and shit. But like it's probably been a couple of years since I last actually played a video game.
I
So
think,
short answer, no, only because my time is kind of limited right now.
right.
But who knows? I mean, I may find like a fun audience on Twitch or live stream and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like you would actually. I mean, I've been looking at like some of your live videos and stuff when you're doing it and like looking at the comments and seeing, what kind of people what not what kind of people, what kind of things people are like trying to bring up or trying to talk about and stuff. And like I just feel like with you, people would see like, oh my God, Nimesh plays Call of Duty. I
Yeah,
play Call of Duty.
yeah.
And so I don't know.
I don't it's like you talk about how I've been adapting and stuff. Like all of it's been like very uh um easy in the sense of the stuff I've been doing has been a low lift if you look at it from an outside perspective. Like in reality, it's been like a heavy amount of work to like find editor, like Iffy,
Right.
Iffy, like he did
Yeah.
most of my editing stuff. And now my friend Jack is doing it, and Adi did a lot of it too. But like picking clips out and uploading them and identifying what needs to be uploaded, this and that, like it seems easy, and ostensibly it is if you have a team and stuff, but it was like just a lot of tedious shit to do. um and uh the stuff that doesn't require a heavy technical lift I will do, but like the Twitch stuff, Twitch streaming. I have a Twitch account. I've streamed on. I think I've seen. I know how it works, but to get like a Twitch linked up to my
Right.
computer so that
You
I
gotta get a
can play
capture
video games
card.
and
You gotta
talk,
get
like I'm like I don't even. I want to do it, but I don't have the bandwidth or the capacity to learn all the stuff to get good at it right now because I don't have a team putting everything in place for me. It's more just like I'm doing everything on my own. Therefore, I'm going to dedicate my time to stuff that I can do pretty easily, like a live stream on YouTube where I just talk shit into a microphone. And I've written some stuff so I can easily. It's not that big of a leap from
I feel
what
like
I
you're
already do. You know what I
I
mean?
feel like you're getting into that space, like when you need a team, like you need a support team, right? Obviously, you got so the new Lilly Singh job. You're working as a writer. Right now. It looks like you're in Midtown, and it's evening during
I'm in
quarantine
Brooklyn.
pandemic.
I just got. I'm just lucky that I have a decent view. But yeah.
Okay, fine. So the show is in Brooklyn. No, okay. Uh, no, but dealing with Okay, so it's daunting to have to do the heavy technical lift, but you know you need to do these things to adapt. But you are moving in so many directions all at once, and so time management is always the elephant in the room. But now I feel like you're getting at a level where, yeah, you'll need a team of support, but having a team itself, I feel like you'd be in like the things you need now are just like executive briefs. Like I don't know if you ever used to read like long documents and articles and stuff, but there's always an executive brief
A
at
one
the
pager.
yeah, it's not quite the abstract,
Uh-huh.
but it's like literally made for people that are not going to take the time to read the thing.
Right. That's
Uh,
what I need. I need someone to just fucking come in, set it all up like a turnkey operator. You know what I mean? Like I've always thought that, and I feel like this is the year, or this was the year, if you were to launch a business
yeah,
around something like this, it would be like you become a turnkey spot for a comic who wants to do everything, has the money, but does not have the time to literally be like, I'm going to put everything on YouTube. I'm going to create a YouTube channel. I'm going to create a Twitch channel. I'm going to create
it's
an
basically what I'm doing with the comic.
you know what I mean? Like
A
that's
lot.
what you need to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're doing it with Yam or
yeah.
whoever, but like that is like uh, uh,
I'll
a
put that out.
model, a package you have to create. And it's just like, I did a lot of it myself with the help of Iffy and Adi and my friend Jack. Um, but I'll get to a point where I'll need to Alex Media my shit. You know what I mean? Like, like, like I need Alex Media to just do everything, so I can just come sit down,
I'm going to
wear
use
my
that as a keyword in this video when I put it
Alex
up.
Media.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, no. I mean, we've been trying to get into like learning all the metrics and stuff, and you know, the picking out clips and captioning them and all of this is so tedious, and
Hmm.
trying to find the right points, and like you start to think back again in like kind of that academic mindset to where it's like, okay, I'm creating a thesis argument and I'm creating supporting points, and it's like when you're making content or picking clips or putting things together, you know, do you feel that, like, do you feel like an implicit having to structure things in an outline form, or like supporting arguments, thesis, or is there different ways that you structure your logical argumentation?
In my comedy, or what do you mean?
No, just like, sure, fine, in comedy or just like putting out clips, even like how you edit them together, right? I
Oh,
need to
I
get this
mean,
point across.
I mean, the clips I've put out to date have just been like, I was just like, these are all bits that I think are hilarious,
Right.
and
Good
this
punch at the end. Put the end card.
I happen to find out, I happen to find them. Thank you, Comedy Cellar, for having all the sets taped for all the comics, and like I made sure I got as many of those clips as possible, and it's really just
Yep.
like, okay, this is a clip that's not out. This is, I think, is funny. This I think will do well. Let me put it out. And then now that I kind of uh, drained the well of seller stuff,
Right.
that's what prompted me to go down to DC
Right.
and put out Patel 2020. Half of it was, I know that I'm never going to get to say this material again. And I think this material that I put out in 2020 on Patel 2020 will age terribly, because I'm tired of talking about it in terms of COVID and the election and all that kind of bullshit. I know that people are not going to want to hear it if I put
Right.
it out any later than when I did. And it was also like, I need to feed this machine that I've created by putting stuff into it, um, uh, vis-a-vis stand-up. And
Right.
so that was like a twofold reason to go down to DC and record these 4 shows that I did. And by some stroke of luck, I sold all those shows out. Granted, there was only 25 people there at each show. It still felt like, okay, they still felt like shows, and I still got good crowds, and good, like the set I think I did that put out. I think
Right.
Patel 2020 is fantastic in terms of coverage of what we all talked about, and like you said, is very different than what anyone else would be talking about right now. from a representation perspective. You know what I mean? Like talking
Yeah, I
about
mean, I kind of
codeine
want to.
and weed and doctors and doing Molly. Like I don't know. Uh, I just want to consistently put my stamp out that I don't know who the fuck you think you're sleeping on, but
Yeah,
this is a different uh, comedy angle than you would expect from someone named Nimesh Patel. And so the impetus behind putting all that, the answer your original question of like, am I approaching stuff from a thesis outline perspective? Maybe I will, but right now it's a matter of just let me put everything out in a semi-structured way that because people don't even know me as a comic. 66,000
yeah,
subscribers is nothing. It's a lot, but it's nothing. So I'm
right.
like, yo, yeah, I'm not going to go out and be like, let me particularly identify this particular clip because the time investment in doing that does not outweigh the fact I just got to put shit out there.
So, okay, so then approaching different things, how much of it is a weighted decision between finding an angle on something or trying to do internal reflection, being like, huh, this is really how I feel about gay marriage or something. This is really how I feel about net neutrality, you know?
Oh, I mean, my stand up has been pretty social
Right.
in general. And I think that has been a conscious decision to just be like, this is what I'm thinking about stuff that everyone else is thinking about. Therefore, I will say what I want to say about it.
Right. So thoughts of like, do I have to be a contrarian or do I have to find an angle? Those factor in less, I guess, with age.
They
Is that a
factor
thing?
the contrarian and finding an angle thing. Like I never try to approach at least now, at least I will say this now. Maybe I have approached things from a contrarian perspective before.
Right.
I'll approach things from a contrarian perspective only because uh, I tend to be contrarian a lot of times, or I just that's just who I am, or
Right.
I think the angle I have on something is contrarian. It just happens to be that. Like I agree with a lot of things, but the funniest stuff comes from disagreeing. And so like that's the approach. It's like, what's the funniest thing I could say about this? And if it happens to make a point, then so be it. If not, then no biggie. But I would love for it to say a lot more than just this is funny. Um, and that was kind of like my like Kobe take. That's why I
Yeah.
started my entire uh, Patel 2020 special or mixtape with the Kobe thing because I approached the whole thing from a contrarian perspective, the whole 2020 thing from a contrarian perspective because uh, no one's expecting anyone to make any jokes about Kobe, and I was like, I will. And then on top of that, you know, I wanted to see if I could make that whole thing at least mean something to me, and if I could have jokes along the way, that would be great. And that's like the overarching takeaway from that. What I'm saying is that like I approach things from a funny first. If I make a point perspective, great. If it happens to be contrarian, which a lot of times it is, but that's just innate in me.
But just think about all he accomplished. 4 beautiful daughters, 5 NBA titles, an Oscar. He beat racism. It breaks my heart you couldn't beat traffic. I love Kobe Bryant. I just like jokes a little more. Like I can't tell you Kobe would have liked that joke, but I do know he would have appreciated that I took the fucking shot. Shoot or shoot, man. You gotta take your shot.
Is everything always funny? Or is there you look for the funny in everything?
I mean, I try to find this is how my brain works.
Yeah. Okay.
It might be a function of like old trauma from like when I was a kid. It's like, what's the funniest? Like, how do I make myself laugh in this situation? And that's really it. I there are definitely things that don't hit you as immediately funny, or I won't find funny immediately, or something. But if I give it enough thought and try to find something funny, I will. But that doesn't make the situation itself funny. Like tragedy is still tragedy, loss is still loss, and people going through traumatic things is still people going through traumatic things. I would never try to make light of that situation. It's more like I'm trying to process this to be funny for me and make me laugh at what's going on because it's hurting me so much that I need to laugh at it so I can feel better about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that does. Cause I'm just like, I'm wondering, yeah, you do that. You can do that for yourself. I do different things. Like I talked about in older episodes, and I might've talked to you about this in conversation where it's like,
Mhm.
I log moments of nostalgia where it's
Mhm.
like, I feel like when I'm going through a severe emotion,
Mhm.
I will eat a certain thing. I will have certain smells around me so that I can trigger that feeling later if I want to
Mhm.
access it to process whatever. And so like that makes sense to me. And I wonder if you do that. Do you do that to like to try to comfort other people? Like how many times have you been told, Nimesh, just let me soak, you know?
Oh no, I never try to be funny when it looks like people are not in the mood for funny. You know what I mean? Like I'm not cracking jokes at a funeral unless I get I can tell when my cousins or my sister are like open for a joke, but most times I'm also feeling the same things they're feeling. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And then it kind of the comedy will naturally kind of fizzle out of me in situations like that. And I think I've gotten pretty good at being attuned to when joke seems appropriate or comedy feels appropriate or
Yeah.
uh but in my head I'm always for the most part thinking of like this shit is hilarious. Like
This was the
like in
funniest
my
thing
head I'm
ever.
always like but but I can't
Can I
always
say
do
that
that.
shit?
What's that?
Can I say that?
And I was like
Uh, But okay, so I kind of want to bring that up, thinking about it like it's a coping mechanism, sure, maybe it comes from trauma, whatever. It's how your brain works, how you process. Um, you talk about, and here's the thing we share in common, other than the store stock Indian stuff, we have a lot of cousins and family, extended family that are in healthcare, doctors, and stuff like that. And
5 first cousins and who are doctors.
yeah, I saw that bit about how you have 5 out of 33. I was gonna count,
5
and
out
I
of
just like
16. 5 out of
five
16.
out of 16. Oh shit, my bad.
There
Five
you
out of
go.
16, 33%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I was gonna count, and there's like some cousins I don't know their names. Like I really like
Damn.
legitimately
You
like
got a lot of cousins.
uh, bro. I'm like what you said you had like a 9 year gap.
Yeah.
Uh, I have one cousin on my dad's side that's older than my dad.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like that,
Oh,
you know.
damn.
So like I don't know.
That's a lot. I mean, yeah, how many do you have that are your age?
Um. So on my mom's side, we all grew up in Mississippi together.
Mhm.
Uh, probably about like five, and the range is probably about 12 years. Uh,
Mhm.
but you kind of lose touch because and I see here's the thing I was trying to make a connection to, and I don't know if it's similar for us or different for us, but I imagine it's different because okay, I grew up in a homogenous environment, Mississippi. You grew up in New Jersey, so there's diversity around, right?
Yeah.
You might not have been so necessarily competitive with your cousins. I don't know if I was so competitive with my cousins as our parents were competitive using us, right?
Mhm.
And so we kind of grew out of touch in our
Mhm.
adult lives, but everyone's doing like spectacular things,
Mhm.
and it's all like that. But so I wonder about if that kind of thing, like the immigrant generation mentality about having to survive and having to ensure the next generation survives and thrives, if that actually alienates the connections that can be built between the first generation. Um,
I mean, I never felt that way.
yeah,
I'm sure
people do.
people have gone through that, but I've never felt that way at all. There's never been a competitive, at least from my end, and
Right.
I can say with confidence from most all my cousins' ends of like competing with each other. I got a little brother or two that are like hyper competitive, but it's never like he's already beat all of us. You know, so it's like, what, you know, but it's never like in your face, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But beyond that, no, I've never felt that way. And I don't think my cousins have ever felt that way. I think they've all just been trying to uh, uh, be the best for themselves. It's never been
So like, what
at
is
the
it?
expense of someone else, you know?
What is the like future collaboration vibe feel like? Because like, you know, there's not really that sense in a lot of extended families because of this systemic alienation or
What do you
whatever.
mean?
So like, you know, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's my cousin, we can do business together. Or
Uh-huh.
it's like, oh, that's my cousin, we can't do business together because
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah,
no,
you know, like,
I actively work with one of my cousins on a venture he's got going on, and then whenever uh, we're all in a position to have businesses and have people brought in, it's all love. You know what I mean?
yeah,
We'll figure that out. It's not gonna be like, I can't and have you involved in this. And then if someone, you know, does something that they don't have anyone involved with, it's like, yeah, I get it. You know, you don't want anyone else involved because things could get hairy, and you don't want to risk anything uh, uh, happening. But beyond that, it's more just like they don't need uh, outside money, so why would they take it? You know, it's like
yeah.
that. You know, so like there's never been a feeling like that at all, and I hope it remains that way. I think, you know, I can't wait to get super rich that I can just have all my cousins work with me on all the stuff that I want to be doing, and then they could just do it. You know,
That's
I can't wait till that happens.
that's dope. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even I mean, I think about that, and the, you know, the reason I ask is because it is a different situation and a similar situation for like a lot of different people, the, you know, first generation immigrant, brown, but going back to what I was trying to get to, we ha-
Doctors.
yeah, we have a lot of like we have a lot of doctors in the family.
Hmm.
The pandemic,
Hmm.
like 300,000 people, I think now gone. Imagine the PTSD that's brewing, or
Right.
the TSD that's brewing now. And like, I don't know, I haven't really been interacting with family so much
Uh-huh.
about this, and so I don't know, like, have you gotten a sense of that, of like, are
Yeah,
from
well, you
your
know, so I have five cousins who are physicians. One is an orthopedic surgeon. One is, I think, doing a anesthesiology fellowship in upstate New York. And sorry, I have five cousins and then one cousin-in-law, I guess, who are physicians, so six total. Uh, one of them is it works in internal medicine in like Bumblefuck, or I think like Atlanta or some shit, and then another one, it works in oncology, but it is a resident, or was a resident when this whole shit started, and is a resident. And then my other cousin was chief resident at Morristown Memorial Hospital, Morristown Hospital, which is New Jersey's main trauma center,
wow,
when in the emergency room.
when they're wearing garbage bags?
Yes. And so the two of them have probably experienced, the two younger ones have probably experienced the most PTSD level um, healthcare interactions, because, you know, like I remember my cousin telling me like this most heartbreaking story. I wish I could get him on the phone to tell it to you, but he was just like, you know, he had a COVID patient who died, and the patient's like son could not come see them. You know, like that's the kind of shit that, you know, yeah, you see trauma all the time, but you don't know what it's like to hear a son hear that his mom is dead on the phone, and then then you hear a scream that you can only describe as the worst thing you've ever heard. You know what I mean? And so these are the things that he's told me and things he's gone through, and that's happening all the time to ER doctors
Right.
and doctors who are going through on the front lines right now. You know, the ER doctors beyond the rest of the very hardworking physicians in the country have been through fucking, and the residents who have been residents and, you know, first year, second year, third year med students who have been in hospitals dealing with patients right now in the last 8 months have gotten war training.
Yeah.
This is war. This is
Yeah.
the like, if you go to a hospital, it's war right now.
Absolutely. There's two different realities. There's
And so,
two completely different realities.
yeah, I mean, you know, they're literally wartime physicians.
Yeah.
Minus, you know, Congress declaring war, it's literally wartime. And so, you know, they're making life or death decisions between, okay, this patient or this patient. Like, I have to treat this patient and this patient. You cannot come in to see your family even though they're dead. Like, what 25-year-old is, you know, 27-year-old is in a position to make that, have that conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
your kid is dying of COVID, you can't go see them. You know what I mean? Like, that's like the kind of shit that they, you know, have gone through. And a lot of this, hopefully this era of this generation, this class of med students, a lot of them have suffered, you know, sort of incalculable mental health issues. But for the most part, or I can't say for the most part, but hopefully they will come out understanding that they went through a time where they will look back and be like, that was the worst shit ever. I can get through anything now.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can have that perspective, because I know, and having not even been in the hospitals, just talking to my cousins, just being like, I don't know what the fuck you're going through, but it sounds ridiculous. One of my cousins is the same one that was the chief resident in ER in Morristown.
Yeah.
Now works at City MD.
Oh, wow.
And so he's just like, every day from, you know, 8 a.m. till whenever they close, it's COVID. It's all just COVID patients. And now it's just like a chain. It's like, yep, okay, COVID, you know, COVID test, COVID test, COVID. And it's like the practice of medicine has changed a little bit, but it's still like, how many people are coming in? Like, what is happening in America that this is what the state of healthcare is right now?
And I mean, like, so before this giant pandemic, right? The
Mhm.
whole thing about healthcare, especially from the doctor perspective, is that, you know, doctors, the technical people, they're being undervalued. And so that was a big gripe we were getting from our cousins and everything. And now, you know, during the pandemic, we see we're putting so much shit on all the doctors and healthcare workers.
Mhm.
We're uh, creating all of this trauma for them while also denying that the virus itself exists, and they have to deal with that. And then I feel like there's no sense
Mhm.
of what is it doing to these people's minds, healthcare
Yeah.
workers. Like,
There was an article, I think probably at the beginning of the pandemic, about, you know, the head of Mount Sinai's ER department, or an ER physician at Mount Sinai, like, killed themselves.
yeah,
You know, and granted, like, you know, there's probably a lot more that went into that, you know, terrible decision that this physician made, but they were probably going through a lot just from experiencing the kind of trauma that they're experiencing. Like, you know, like, it does not change you if you hear someone, you know, die, or be told that they can't see their loved one when they're dying. You know, there's no way it doesn't change you as
yeah.
a human being,
And
or
that's not
impact
just
you.
a single occurrence. That
Right.
probably happens every week
Yeah.
for some people. And just, yeah, and like, imagine how jaded you have to become. And here's the thing, statistically and all this stuff, right? Like, South Asian, Asian, whatever, the immigrant generation, first generation, we got a lot of doctors, we got a
Hmm.
lot of healthcare workers. We're overrepresented in those fields. And so to just think about it in that sense, like in the aggregate, and how this severe, sustained, and frequent trauma for this chunk of time is going to affect all of our extended families.
Uh-huh.
And like, you know, yeah, they're wartime. So it's like, imagine having millions of veterans now with whatever may trigger them,
Hmm.
you know,
Oh
for
yeah. I mean,
a
to say
generation.
nothing of the nurses, and the other people that have gone through the same shit
Right.
but don't
Well, I'm
have.
saying healthcare workers. For
Yeah,
every,
yeah. I'm just saying, like, there's quadrillions of them.
right.
This is they're going to need their own VA that will ignore all their problems, just like the VA does now. but
And boom, there it is.
but it's a problem. And I've been, that healthcare clip that I posted
Yeah.
was my favorite interaction from the whole Patel 2020 experience. It just so happened, and I think about that conversation all the time, like daily, because there's so much more I could have said, and I wish I would have asked them a lot more. And the conversation just got, hey, it was kind of high. I was pretty high when because so what I did in DC was like I did like 40 to 45 minutes of like the special that I put out, the Patel 2020 thing. And then I did another 45 minutes to an hour of just talking to the audience high. Because on my YouTube page, I had found that my high talks were like my most popular thing when it came to like members and stuff.
Yeah,
And
dude.
so
People love it. These
people love it.
15-year-old
So
Indian dudes love it.
I would just light up and people would talk and ask questions and stuff. And so I was like, let me do that live and just have fun. And it just so happened that this lady was a neurologist in DC, and she had some pretty strong opinions about healthcare. And she did not expect me to have informed opinions about the same thing. And I do have very informed opinions about healthcare.
Look, I'm saying I have such a empathy for physicians that when I see people who I know are exactly like me not doing the best they can, it hurts. But that's what it is. All I'm saying is every doctor operates under this don't hate the player, hate the game shit. That's what you just said. Blame the insurance companies. I will. I just don't know a lot yet.
Granted, I'm not a physician or anything, but I studied healthcare more than most doctors study the actual practice of healthcare. You know what I mean? From a business perspective. Because last year when I worked at Sam B, the field piece that I was most excited about that I really wanted to do was about healthcare. And so I studied the whole thing for like 6 months, like in and out. Like I interviewed like mad doctors. I talked to this doctor, Dr. Elizabeth Rosenthal, who runs like NPR's Bill of the Month. I talked to Sarah Cliff, who's like the New York Times healthcare journalist. We interviewed this doctor, Sandeep Jawar, who is not a leading expert on healthcare, but had a lot of opinions on healthcare, because we wanted to talk to Dr. Atul Gawande, but he was unavailable because he's running Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos' healthcare thing.
Can you get him on this podcast?
Yeah. But so I learned a lot from that process. And from my own healthcare experience of like that asthma tech story is real.
Yeah.
And so that whole conversation, like, it's like just part of what I want to do over the course of my comedy career at some point, just like really talk about healthcare in a way that no one is really talking about it, because like we all understand healthcare is a problem, and healthcare for everyone sounds like a fantastic idea, and in theory it is, but there's so many steps along the way that we could rectify right now that no one is even thinking about doing. And the reason I put it on doctors is because, like I said in that clip, I know doctors.
Yeah.
The only people in healthcare that I actually know, like I can call doctors right now, like my cousins, right? And my main rub with physicians is everyone says why they get into healthcare, because they want to take care of people, right? They want to help people out. That's why a lot of people want to get into healthcare. And then the instant they're in a very clear
or they want a house.
They want a house, sure. Yeah, but like that's it, really. That's the subtext of what I'm trying to say. Is like, do you want to help people? Because here's a clear way for you to help people. That doctor did not know how much the procedure she performed that made her salary cost the patient. You know what I mean? And that is
Yeah.
obscene to me. If I have a joke about it now and that I'll put out at some
Wow.
point. It's like, if you're a hoe and you got a John that's coming to you for some pussy, as long as the pimp is paying you your crack, you don't care how much your pussy costs? That's like a hoe not knowing how much your pussy costs. Are you crazy? Can you imagine going to a prostitute and she doesn't know how much her pussy is worth? That's the same shit. That's the same. Doctors don't know how much they're
Or for the children viewers, like
I'm
for a
sorry.
photographer not knowing how much his photos are worth.
Exactly. I don't know if you got. I know you got like Bhagwan in the back, and I got a Krishna on my
No,
shirt.
no. I was just trying to make.
But yeah, you know what I mean. Like, it's the same thing, and that's just like a small part. And doctors will easily deflect to be like, "What about med school costs this much, and insurance companies all make tons of money, and hospitals overrun everything and charge everything and all this." I'm like, yes, I understand all of that.
But it's
My
like you're
point
playing the game too.
My point is, you're also part of the game.
Yeah.
And you are in a position, the best position, I would think, because you are the player. You're the one whose pussy it is that's being given away. And the business would not exist without your pussy. To be in a position to be like, yo, this is how much my John is getting fucked this much. This is how badly this guy's getting screwed. I should do something about it. But they don't. And that's my problem with doctors. And I'll tackle insurance companies next, and I'll tackle people like hospital providers who triple, quadruple, quintuple charge for things that cost like $10. There's a story.
That's true. Because it's like comedians in the fourth estate, not people that are really working within certain industries that can take a holistic approach to what they're doing and the effects of what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a very smart way of saying what I was saying, but
no. I'm definitely going to title the episode "The Business Wouldn't Exist Without Your Pussy."
Yeah. The businesses would not exist without your pussy, ho. Like,
oh, okay, pussy, comma, ho. But I'm definitely going to put a star over the U in pussy.
It's like that's the whole point of it, and it's like that's why I love that clip so much.
Yeah,
is because like that's just one. This is scratching at the surface. And I should give her credit, and I don't think people heard it, but she does say, maybe we should start a coalition. And I by that point, I was already over the conversation, but like, that's kind of what, hopefully is a goal of mine is to do that, because it's like
sort of civilian oversight council or like
transparency thing, like there's no transparency in healthcare pricing.
Not at all.
Not at all. And there's a tremendous amount of waste. And a lot of that is, and this doctors and patients will go back and forth on this all the time, because doctors are always like, patients want all the tests. What are we supposed to do but give them all the tests? And patient,
because Pfizer is taking all my kids to the movies on Wednesday.
It's like, but patients are like, a lot of it is patients are misinformed, but also doctors are like, there's a moral hazard. Of course, they're going to give out all the tests. They make tons of money, even if the tests are not necessary. And then you have, places like NYU Langone, which is where I had my asthma attack, that, granted I got that care for free because I lied and said I don't have the money. And I didn't have $6,000.
That's my favorite bit, by the way, of yours.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I could have paid like 2 G's, but I was like, I don't want to pay 6. I don't have 6 G's to just give away.
You don't have 2 G's to give away.
I don't have 2 G's to give away. If I get it for 0, I'll get it for 0. And there, when I went in, there was like, yo, do you want all this other shit? And I'm like, what is it? I wish I had studied healthcare the way I did before that, because then I would have told this lady, this doctor and this nurse, like, why are you trying to upsell me on something that is happening to me right now? I'm telling you, I have an asthma attack.
Right.
Give me albuterol.
There's always like plausible deniability in saying it's all just due diligence, even when you're incentivized to do the same thing.
Exactly. When, in healthcare, in that situation, there's like, basically you go through like a checklist of, it's an option tree that you go through. Is this patient having this? then it's most likely that they're having this, and then this is unnecessary. Is this patient presenting with this? Then it's probably necessary that they need to do this thing. I was definitely at the top of the chain where like, he's definitely having an asthma attack. There's nothing else wrong with him.
Right.
He's 32 years old. He's perfectly healthy. Like, he's coherent. Nothing hurts. He can breathe pretty well. He's just like afraid of going to sleep because my lungs are really tight. Just give him albuterol. Like, they could have just given me, one of those things,
Right.
and I would have been fine. Instead they give me the whole machine, which is what you're supposed to do. But they asked me if I wanted an X-ray. I relented on the X-ray. I was like, fine, I'll get an X-ray just in case. Like this, I was smoking out a vape pen, one of those fucking.
You thought you had like popcorn lung or something?
Yeah, I thought I had some shit.
Yeah.
Because I had smoked out of those cartridges before, and then never happened. So I was like, did this cartridge fuck me up? To an extent that I'm terrified, and that's the only reason I went to the hospital. Otherwise, I would just slept it off. I'm like, oh, this will pass. Like, I've had like weed will definitely tighten up my lungs. But like, oh, it'll be okay. Like, this is not a big deal. But that night, I was like, oh, this is a little on this side of concern. So I was like, let me go just in case. And I'll after a while, I was like, fine, I'll get the fucking X-ray. But they're like, do you want to do blood work? Do you want an EKG? Do you want fucking X-ray? I was like, what are you talking about? Why? I already told you. I already told you I don't have insurance. This is not going to end well for either one of us.
That's why we're asking, homie.
Yeah. They could get the fuck. I mean, if I had the insurance, it's likely I would have done everything.
Yeah.
And that's also the problem where patients are like, yeah, just give me all of it. And they abuse insurance. And then insurance companies and doctors are just like, fuck it. We'll just pay because we're making tons of money on the premiums anyway. And
and not to mention subsidies.
Yeah, it's all fucked. But
dude, insurance is really just like insurance for insurers against the insured.
Yeah, that's really it. It's all it is. They're all just making bank.
What a scam.
And they know most of the time insurance companies wouldn't exist if bad things happened all the time. You know what I mean? We would all, we're pretty much all right all the time. Yeah. Otherwise, insurance companies wouldn't exist. They'd just be paying out constantly. But insurance companies are the most profitable things in the world because bad things don't really happen most of the time.
They took the personal touch out of organized crime.
Yeah, that's really it. That's really it.
Yo, I know you got a heart out, but thank you for coming on. That was great.
I could talk for a little more if you want.
Yeah,
till like 5:30 or 5:40 or so.
Okay, so I wanted to do a segment. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of so this segment is called Appropriation or Appreciation. Uh-huh. And what we have people do is we have guests, we give them like a case study or something, and they give us a determination whether or not it's appropriation or appreciation, or if this dichotomy that I'm framing and forcing is false.
Okay.
Right? So the case study I want to use is something that you basically base your own podcast off of, the Gucci turban.
Gucci turban.
Right. So I'm going to read just a couple of things I pulled. The Italian fashion house is being criticized for selling a headscarf for $790 called the Indy Full Turban. And this was last year. The headscarf was previously available for purchase on Nordstrom's website, but has since been marked as sold out. And the name was changed on the retailer's site as Indy Full Head Wrap instead of Indy Full Turban. And this was the Sikh Coalition response. The Sikh turban is not a fashion accessory, but it's also a sacred religious article of faith. We hope more can be done to recognize this critical context. # appropriation. Mm-hmm. And
do I think it's appropriation or
yeah, no, I mean, I kind of pulled like a slam dunk case on one side, but I know that's what your podcast name is. So
well, it was called the podcast is called Gucci Turban because it's hilarious. There's no meaning behind Gucci Turban beyond saying Gucci Turban is a lot of fun to say.
But it's a reference to this.
It's a reference to that for sure. It's hard to say if it's appropriation or appreciation, only because I'm curious to know how the Sikh Coalition would have reacted if that pale white model that they put the turban on was actually just a Sikh guy with a big ass beard. Then what is it? You know what I mean? Then it's appreciation, right?
Right.
I think it's just like those racist Italians didn't know how to find a fucking Sikh person that would have looked good in their stupid ass silk blue.
They could have hit up Wes Anderson. He's got like
Like,
3 on his.
yeah, they could have put all they had to do was put up find a Sikh guy. He didn't have to be Sikh, just an Indian guy. You know, just
Wait, then that would have been.
they would have done. No one would have known. You know, they weren't looking for the
What do you think?
silver bangle on the wrist.
Okay, so the intention behind all these marketing designs and everything, the intention is always some sort of appreciation when they appropriate stuff. Like, obviously the intention is like, oh, look, we're multicultural, we're diverse, and we're drawing attention to different styles or whatever. And so the intention is always great. But like, what do you think the intention was here?
I think the intention there was to take that shit and make money off of fucking. I don't. Would anyone even wear that if they didn't have to? Is the question.
Did Nick Cannon start wearing it before or after the Gucci turban?
Nick Cannon wears a Gucci turban?
Nick Cannon started wearing a turban like as a whole thing.
Oh, I had no idea.
And then there's like a couple of comics in the.
If Nick is doing it, it's probably bad. But no, I mean, look, obviously it's appropriation, but Gucci is just completely misguided in that. I mean, they're run by fucking Italian people. Italians are inherently racist people.
Hey, Joe, is it racist for you to call them racist?
Yes.
Yes.
Just but the thing is, like, my broader take on appropriation is really is just like people are going to take what they take and people are going to steal what they steal and be like, oh, this is dope, I want to make it my own.
Yeah.
You're not going to stop that. The only way to stop it, or the only way to get even with it, is to get a check and be like, all right, if Gucci for every turban they sold donated like 80% of their profit or whatever to the Sikh coalition, that would have made some kind of olive branch for them. It's really about the bag. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not mad people do yoga. I'm mad people do yoga and that Indian people don't get paid when they do it. Like, I hope for every white lady yoga teacher, there's a brown guy getting bank. You know, for every Lululemon, there's a fucking lemon tree planted in India or some shit.
A Lululemon
like
tree.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that would be fine. It's more like everyone's just making bank and no one's paying tribute like they should.
I think the one thing we do have about the yoga is, like, I like to think that, you know, when they go to like India to get certified and stuff, I just like to think it's like one of our cousins that doesn't really know shit. That's just like, I have a school for teaching teachers.
Yeah. You come to my school.
And so it's like, maybe they need to share the wealth.
Yeah.
But they're probably getting lowballed too because of cost of living. And, you know, someone comes from here and is like, yeah, I want to learn how to be a yoga teacher for $100, 8 months intensive course.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. Imagine I should go start a fucking intensive yoga school in some ashram in India and see what happens.
Bro, can you give 6 months of your life to a project like that and make just like the wildest, best documentary this world has ever seen?
Wouldn't it be fucking hilarious?
If you were just a yoga teacher trainer and then like 4 white girls come out of that, start their own schools in the US, those blow up as national brands, and then you come out as like, yeah.
I have no formal yoga training.
This is the sequel to Kumare.
Yeah. I barely speak Gujarati.
That was all gibberish.
That's
all his chance.
It's all a lie.
Yo, you can totally come out and just say you're the one who invented goat yoga and hot yoga and all this stuff.
Yeah, wasn't that Bikram Chowdhury guy?
Yeah, something like that.
That fucking creep.
Ponytail with a bald head.
A fucking molester, and he's still out there.
Probably.
He got away with it.
Probably, I mean, because he created a lot of yoga teachers.
Yeah, and they're all just still supporting him. You know, like, I watched that shit recently, like maybe 6-8 months ago, about how he started, and he's just like out gallivanting and shit. Still, he just can't come back to the States, but there's plenty of firm booty to lie to out elsewhere, you know.
plenty of firm booty to lie to elsewhere. So before we go, I need you to help me to pick one of two possible titles for this show. This business wouldn't exist without your pussy hoe, or plenty of firm booty to lie to elsewhere.
It's definitely the first one. It's definitely the first one. This business wouldn't exist without your pussy hoe.
We're gonna make it a shirt too, and then get shut down.
Please go ahead.
All right. Well, once again, thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. When is this coming out?
I'm thinking either next week or the week after, but probably next week.
How many listeners do you have?
If I say it, you're gonna get really upset because it's very low.
I don't give a shit.
They're like 20 or something.
20?
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good amount.
Yeah.
That's more than zero. I wanted to talk about the cartoon real quick.
Yeah. I was gonna mention an intro, but Zoo Idiots is your cartoon you were doing with Mookie Thompson.
Yeah, don't say it all. You did. Mookie Thompson.
Mookie Thompson. Did I say it right?
Mookie Thompson. Yeah.
Talk about it.
So at the beginning of the year, like right when quarantine happened, a friend of mine named Jeremy hit me up. This was probably April or late March, and I had met him like 2 years ago while I was on a trip, and he's an engineer. He hit me up, like him and 4 of his friends had put together like a learning group where they like learn new things and new models of business and what have you.
Yeah.
Wow. And they wanted to see if they had this idea to start a bunch of Twitter pages with animals talking back and forth at each other, given how much quarantine had impacted humans and how that had impacted animals and climate change. Like, pollution that went down, animals were freer than they'd ever been. There was dolphins in the Venice Canal, so to speak. That's what Jeremy really.
That was a huge story.
Yeah, so Jeremy was really hung up. Like that group was kind of I don't know if they were inspired by that, but I remember that being a really big point for them. And so he hit me up, was like, hey, do you know if any comics would want to write a bunch of Twitter pages about climate change and animals talking to each other? I was like, point blank, no, that's a terrible idea. I wasn't mean about it, but I was like, that doesn't seem viable. I don't think comics would be very much interested in spending, at least a comic at my level would not be interested in.
Right.
I wasn't interested in it, and I couldn't think of people who would be, but I did think, what would be fun is if we did an animated project. If we I could think of a cartoon around this idea. And so I talked to Mookie, and Mookie is like a comedy writing savant. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if people know
Mookie.
That. Yeah. I mean, that motherfucker's
he always makes me laugh.
He's a television savant. The guy knows development of TV like no one I've ever met. Granted, I haven't met a lot of people that know the world, but he knows his shit. And so, and I've been working with him on a bunch of other stuff forever. But this time I was like, yo, let's do this. Let's pitch these guys. I think they have some budget. We can figure out, how to make it happen. And these other guys are not sometimes you'll have some LA guy who's just got a ton of money and a bunch of cocaine and thinks he has brains and wants to make an idea. This group was Jeremy's an engineer. Jeff is a banker at a CEO level banker in Brazil. Andy is a venture capitalist who sits on the boards of a few companies. And then Ahmad runs a $2 billion hedge fund in London. So these guys are sophisticated investors.
Right.
And they were the ones behind this idea. And so I pitched them this idea. I brought Mookie on and I pitched them Mookie. I was like, the two of us are going to make this thing. This is the idea that we have. This is what we want to do. And they were like, let's do it. And so from March till end of March till May, we developed Mookie and I sort of created this project, and then these guys kind of co-created in terms of giving the themes and ideas and what they wanted to see from it. We were this is what we want to see from it. This is the characters we envision. This is how we see it playing out. And we took on the entire sort of production work of from development to writing it to casting it to Mookie did all the music, all the sound, all the editing is all Mookie. The motherfucker
I want to reiterate that it's animated.
Yeah, it's animated.
Yeah.
and then we found an animator. Luckily, shout out to Ryan Ling, who hooked me up with this guy Rob Lynch, who is just a wizard, and he did all this shit by himself. And then our friend Matt Weir, I don't know if you ever met Matt Weir, but he's Mookie's roommate, but also like a fantastic writer and producer in his own right. Is like our producer. So the team of us on the production side is like the four of us. And from like March until beginning of November, we were working on this fucking pilot. And finally at the beginning of November, I think it was beginning of November, or was it mid-November? It's like right after the election, we put out this cartoon called Zoo Idiots. It's called, if you could go watch it at zooidiots.com, it's like if you like Rick and Morty or South Park or anything on Adult Swim, like that's what we were shooting for.
It's been 86 days since the humans packed up and ran off. As the only one with thumb privilege, it's my duty to keep us all from starving till they get back.
Praise Jesus! Another meal just falling out the sky. This rainy table ate!
May the good times never end.
First episode linked in the description.
Yeah, check it out, zooidiots.com, or the link wherever it is. Well,
it'll be there.
Yeah. But if you're listening and you're not on the YouTube or whatever it is, go to zooidiots.com. But it's like, it's a cartoon that has insane development. I voice the tiger, and I voice the bee. If you like hard jokes, my favorite joke in the whole thing is, one of my favorite jokes in the whole thing is the Earth is sweating like a celebrity on Epstein's flight list.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is a fantastic joke for a penguin to say. There's a bunch of.
It's built. The joke writing is built for also like how different things, different companies are doing now with social media and how they have meme panels, like the subtitles from whatever the joke is. So it's like, you guys created a factory of self-promotion also.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. That's the stuff that's like I said when we talked about earlier, it's like we need a team. Like right now the team is me, Mookie, Matt, and Rob, and so we're gonna continuously do all that, like the promo, and we're working on episode 2. We just finished like writing it and sent in the scratch track. There's gonna be 7 more episodes that are like anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes long. Yeah, but it's a labor of love, and it's like
it's a lot of labor too.
Oh, it's a shit ton of labor. If I were to do the dollar cost on how much we made, like $2 an hour. Literally,
you made money.
No, I mean we literally
that's
made,
right, because you're monetized. It's YouTube. It's free on YouTube, but it's
it's on YouTube. But the guys paid us. The investors paid us.
Okay.
But it was like, if I'm doing the math on how much we got paid, it's maybe $1 or $2 an hour. Because we put in like 40 to 70 hour weeks. Mookie worked his fucking dick off. He lost like 30 pounds. It's just working. Did
he have 30 pounds to lose?
I mean, yeah, but that's the thing. Like it was a labor of love because it definitely wasn't for the money. Yeah. But what we've created, we are very confident that it is this beautiful piece of art that kind of sums up on both on its surface and subtextually, like everything that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, and just because it is a labor of love, you can tell the passion translates.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, I fucking love that thing. I can't believe we did that. I can't
believe y'all did that.
That's what we wanted people to think. Like
it's like, is this Adult Swim? Like
4 people did this?
Yeah, yeah, that was nuts. And like I was even talking with a friend the other day about that South Park documentary, 6 Days to Air, and just how fucking insane that was. And like Trey Parker, every scene in that documentary, he's eating a shit ton of McDonald's because it's just like you could tell the amount of stress.
Bro, the amount of burritos I ate and the amount of weed we smoked and the amount of the amount I saw Mookie. Like
you got tired of Mookie.
Every day we get up, all right. And the amount of miles I put on City Bike going to his place, every day and then coming back late at night and all this. Like, goddamn, we did a lot. There's still a lot to do, but that pilot took so much work, and I think it shows. I think when you watch it, you're like, God damn, this is the work of 8 people from in terms of like the entire team, and then 4 people that did the actual work of it. Like, it's nuts. Imagine we had a studio or like a team like a fucking Netflix or a Adult Swim or someone being like, yo, all right, you did this with 4, here's 40 people, make a cartoon and blow people's minds.
Part of the beauty of it is well, and I'm assuming, like, because you don't have the whole season done and everything, there's still more room for interactivity and changing things, maybe I don't know, whatever, like however mechanisms you think of. That's what's cool about it, because it's like, let's try to do an Adult Swim type cartoon organically in the community, which is like some wild shit still.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did.
Yeah.
We Matt Richards is in it. The Lucas Bros are in it. Phoebe Tyres is in it. Karen Feehan, Matt Weir. We got a crazy cast. It was just nuts, man. It's just, I mean, the jokes in there are enough. It's like, how the like, I play a gay tiger, like
on stage and in the cartoon. All right.
But yeah, man. This whole year was just like, to do stuff that I couldn't normally do because I couldn't normally do what I would normally do. So I got to go do other shit, apply that Mamba mentality right there. Just like get better at everything. And I can't wait till things return to quote unquote normal, because I'm ready.
Yeah. And I mean, quarantine's one of those things. It's like, you see who is, even if they're not adapting, who is at least putting forth the effort to try to adapt. And all creative ideas are still creative ideas, and there's some value to be taken from observing them.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I hope people have adapted.
Yo, thank you.
Thank you. That's good.
Yeah, definitely. Hit me up whenever, dog.
You got everything you needed?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, we could. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes. If you,
I'm gonna get some coffee and then get back on this fucking Zoom call that I got with Lily's. With the writers.
Yeah.
Which should be exhausting, but it'll be fun.
Exhausting but fun.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the other title. Maybe that's
exhausting. No. It should be the business wouldn't exist without your pussy, ho. Like that's what it has to be.
It's got to be that. The first video that goes viral. All right.
All right, man. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the scene, bro. All right. Stay well, man. Peace.
Thanks for watching. Check us out at returnthejewels.com or on social media at returnthejewels to watch more videos. You can subscribe right there, or you can watch a random video right here. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends.